Coming up on Marlborough this week, the alarming results of a study linking a common bathroom product to cancer.
Gas prices pushing $3 a gallon will tell you how it's not only affecting your wallet, but also the local economy.
And summer weather is finally in full swing. What you need to know to keep yourself safe. Hello everyone, and welcome to this edition of Marlborough This Week. I'm Mike Hoey-Lukas.
And I'm Tina Martin. And coming up, we're going to have some fabulous weather for you for this weekend. The 4th of July is over, so the start of the summer is officially underway.
Unfortunately, it is, Tina. Yeah, Independence Day is gone, and from what I understand, there are going to be some thunderstorms coming our way the early part of next week. We're going to have a look at the 5-day forecast for you coming up in a couple of minutes. But first, we have our top story for you this week. A member of the National Guard was indicted last Thursday for the near-deadly beating of an 8-week-old baby. 20-year-old Michael Wing of Marlborough is charged with assault and battery on his girlfriend's son. The baby, who by now is fully recovered, was taken to the hospital back in May after he stopped breathing. He suffered from multiple skull fractures and bruising. Relatives now care for the child while the Department of Social Services works with his mother. Wing is going to be arraigned in Middlesex Superior Court, but no date has been set yet.
A rollover on Interstate 495 sent 3 women to the hospital on Monday night. A Ford Explorer rolled over the southbound lane near the Marlborough-Hudson line. The driver and 2 of her passengers suffered minor injuries. They were taken to UMass Medical Center in Worcester. The cause of the accident is still under investigation as no charges have been filed.
A convicted embezzler is trying to get released early from prison. Last Friday, Laura Ryan asked a Marlborough judge to let her leave prison early and instead wear an electronic ankle monitor. She gave the judge recommendation letters from her therapists, doctors, and also neighbors. Ryan has been arrested multiple times for stealing from her former employers, friends, and even from family. She's serving a 27-month term at MCI Framingham and is up for parole in 3 months.
A man who police say sexually exposed himself to a mother and her 2 children is held on $10,000 bail this week. He was arraigned in Marlborough Court last Friday. 59-year-old John Briers allegedly fondled himself in a Marlborough bookstore on April 28th. Turns out this man has a long record of similar charges. He's also been arraigned in Braintree and Sharon on charges of exposing himself, and police in Canton, Waltham, and Stoughton say he's a suspect in incidents at libraries and the children's section of bookstores. And in 2 other incidents, he was arrested in Holyoke and Springfield on similar charges. If he is convicted, it won't be his first time in prison. Briers has already served time in jail for similar charges. He is due back in Marlborough Court August 25th.
A Hudson man pled guilty last Friday to his 10th drunk driving charge. 49-year-old Joseph Maypother led police on a wild chase from Worcester to Hudson back in April, and police say that nothing stopped him, not even a flat tire. Police followed his 3-wheeled Jeep to his driveway, where they smashed his windows and pulled him from the car. Maypother is already being held on $100,000 bail for another police chase.
A Marlborough police officer on the lookout for drunken drivers didn't have to look far. Walter Gilligan was arrested last Saturday after he drove drunk and slammed into a police cruiser and then to a second car. Detective Derek Johnson was writing a ticket for a car he pulled over when Gilligan's pickup truck crushed his door and took off his mirror. But the driver didn't stop there. He then hit the car Johnson had pulled over. No one was hurt in the accident. This is Gilligan's second DUI offense.
A Marlborough couple was arrested last Friday for buying painkillers with fake prescriptions. Police say Caitlin Hosmer and Corey Merrill have bought more than 800 pills at 3 different local pharmacies during the past 5 months. Police were tipped off when a doctor at Triborough Medical Center noticed fake prescriptions. The couple was arraigned on Monday. Hosmer was discharged without bail and will be due back in court August 9th. Merrill was released on $1,000 bail and will be due back in court this Thursday.
A jury acquits a Marlborough man of beating his pregnant girlfriend and refusing to let her call for help. 19-year-old John Metcalf was found not guilty of aggravated assault and battery on a pregnant woman. breaking and entering, and vandalism and intimidation of a witness. However, he was found guilty of larceny for stealing his girlfriend's Sony PlayStation. Police arrested Metcalf back in March when he allegedly tried to break into his girlfriend's apartment. The girlfriend, 2 months pregnant at the time, told police he pushed her to the ground and disconnected her telephone.
If you've got a student loan and you didn't consolidate it before last weekend, there's some bad news for you. Student loan interest rates went up almost 2% last Saturday. If you didn't lock in rates at what they were last week, you can expect to pay thousands more in interest over the life of your loan. And Tina, it's certainly very bad news for a lot of folks out there who have a lot of years worth of debt that they still need to pay off.
Oh yeah, the infamous student loans, who doesn't have that?
Yeah, it's going to be a huge financial crunch for a lot of people. We're going to take a brief break right now here on Marlborough This Week.
And when we come back, we'll have your weather forecast. Stay tuned.
Are you looking to expand your workforce? Hi, I'm Governor Mitt Romney. Thousands of employers throughout Massachusetts have used our one-stop career centers to recruit and find new employees. Visit one of our centers to learn about tax credits and grants that help defray the cost of training new employees. Talk to an employer specialist. One-stop career centers are working for Massachusetts.
For information, call 1-877-US2-JOBS. That's 1-877-US2-JOBS.
What a fabulous weekend we have coming up, Mike.
We certainly do, Tina. Looks like after the storms we're going to see the early part of the week, they're really going to clear out, and we're going to have some lovely weather in store. Hope we can all get out and enjoy it.
Definitely. Not such a great start to the weekend for those coming back from vacation, though.
Exactly right. Hopefully they'll have some time to get out and have some fun the later part of the week and over the weekend. And speaking of having some fun, residents at New Horizons have raised more than $3,600 to benefit the Alzheimer's Foundation of America and the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research. 31 seniors aged 73 to 93 performed in their first ever variety show. It's where they must have had some fun for sure. Bob Jamram produced the sold-out show, and he says that the seniors spent 4 months preparing.
The cast is going to be great. I don't know how I am. I get very nervous when they have to get up and introduce people, and introduce the show and things like that. But the cast is great.
23 lucky students are receiving scholarships close to $8,000. The Marlborough Disabilities Commission gives these scholarships to help disabled students pay for summer camp every year. These scholarships are funded by $100 fines motorists pay when they illegally park in a handicapped spot. However, funds were less this year because until recently, the city was without a parking officer. If you would like to apply for a scholarship or want more information, you can call 508-460-3699.
Old Navy and the Sports Authority may be on their way into Marlborough. Developers of the Solomon Pond Mall have been talking with the two chain stores about developing a site on Donald Lynch Boulevard. The city is going to vote on the development project on July 24th. If it's approved, the stores could be open next year.
Now to your health news. Dyeing your hair might not be as safe as it looks. A new study links hair coloring to cancer. Women from 6 European countries were examined, and researchers found a 19% increase in non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cases in women who use hair dye. And the risk jumped even higher to 26% for those who color their hair at least once a month.
With the summer weather in full swing, it's important to make sure you stay safe under the sun's bright rays. According to the Centers for Disease Control, more than 300 Americans die every year from a heat-related illness, and doctors say that these illnesses can be easily prevented by making sure you drink plenty of fluids. They also have a couple of tips for you to help keep yourself hydrated. First, drink at least 8 glasses of water a day, if not more. There's a new study suggesting the amounts of water any one person needs varies with temperature, environment, and activity level, so at least 8 glasses should be a safe bet. Also, make sure you drink fluids 20 to 30 minutes before you exercise. Sports drinks are a great alternative because they replace electrolytes.
Summer is one of the most critical times of the year for blood, and unfortunately, it's also when there seems to be shortages of blood donations. So the American Red Cross is asking Marlborough residents to donate blood at either one of 2 locations in July. The first drive will be held on July 12th at the Masonic Hall from 2 to 7 p.m. and another will be held July 14th at those same times, and those who donate at this drive will receive coupons from Eastern Mountain Sports and Borders Bookstore. That's a great cause, and we also have another great cause.
We certainly do, Tina. With a look at that great cause, here's Lesley Cannata out in Sudbury with a look at our Pet of the Week.
That's right, guys. I'm Lesley Cannata, and I'm here with Gina Lettery at Buddy Dog in Sudbury for this week's Animal of the Week. And who do you have for us this week?
Well, right here we have Patrick, and he's kind of borderline between a kitten and a cat. He's a little tiger male. I can't quite remember where he came from. But someone brought him in. I think they said they found him. He's probably about 4 months old, really friendly, likes to play with other cats, and he is up for adoption here at Buddy Dog.
So for anyone watching who wants to come down here and get Patrick, what should they do?
Well, they can come on in and check on his availability, and we'll be happy to give them an application to fill out.
Great. All right, well, this is Patrick. We'll be back after this.
One 100 years ago this week, July 4th, 1906, Wilbert Conrad is stabbed in the neck at the 4th of July celebration on Mechanic Street. Police arrested 60-year-old William Tweed as he passed the police station. Wilbert Conrad received 6 stitches from the front to the back of his neck.
Welcome back to Marlborough This Week. In business news, gas prices in Marlborough are up this weekend after the 4th of July holiday. According to AAA New England, the average price of regular gasoline is now $2.97. That's up 3 cents from last week. At this time last year, gas averaged at $2.22.
And drivers aren't the only ones feeling the pinch that's being caused by the high gas prices. Auto sales are down too. GM reports that its sales are down more than 25% from a year ago. Ford and Chrysler sales are also down. But Toyota, on the other hand, is reporting that their sales are up. And they say it's because they've been offering promotions on fuel-efficient vehicles.
Groove Alliance performed Thursday night at Union Common. It was the 3rd performance of Marlborough's summer concert series. Every Thursday, there will be a performance at the corner of Main and Bolton Streets from 7 to 9 p.m. This week coming up is the John Penny Band.
And if you're looking for something to do over the weekend, you can head on down to the old fire station at the corner of Bolton and Main Streets. Marlborough's Summer in the City kicks off this weekend. There will be free music, entertainment, and exhibits every Saturday night throughout the summer. So, Tina, from the sound of things, there's a good number of things for folks to do on a lot of these hot summer nights to take their minds off all of the heat.
Absolutely. Food, fun, dancing, whatever you want. I think Marlborough has it all. So enjoy yourself. Be safe, whatever you do. We're out of time for Marlborough This Week. I'm Tina Martin.
And I'm Mike Hoey-Lukas. See you next time.
Police now have the suspect involved in a frightening hit and run. We'll tell you what happened.
Gas prices hit a record high, spilling over $3 a gallon. We'll tell you when they're likely to come back down.
The Shamrocks back on the field after nearly a 2-year hiatus. We'll have highlights coming up.
Hello, Marlborough.
Breaking news this weekend involving a hate crime.
An arraignment date has been set for a Marlborough driver who police say sideswiped a bicyclist, pulled a knife on him, and then screamed racial slurs. Marcos Rios will be arraigned in Marlborough District Court on Monday. The incident happened on Mechanic Street on Tuesday. Holding a beer can in one hand and a knife in the other, Rios repeatedly shouted, "I hate Brazilians," at the victim. The victim, whose name was withheld by the court, was not cut by the knife. Rios' arraignment was postponed from earlier this week because he needs a Spanish interpreter.
That man is facing multiple charges of assault with a dangerous weapon, leaving the scene of a personal injury, drinking from an open container, and civil rights violations.
Welcome to Marlborough This Week. I'm Angelique Piccolo.
And I'm Dan Corcoran. A Leominster man is held without bail this weekend for allegedly running over his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend with his car. On Thursday, a Marlborough judge ruled 22-year-old Eric Vega would be a danger if he were released. The incident happened in Hudson last Sunday morning. Police say the 19-year-old victim suffered a broken hip, pelvis, and tailbone, along with burns to his chest and neck. He was taken to UMass Memorial Medical Center in Worcester. The district attorney's office says they hope to bring the case to a grand jury by the end of the month.
And only 1 week after a sex offender is arraigned in Marlborough for sexually exposing himself to a mother and her children in a bookstore, another man arrested this week on similar charges. Jacob John was arrested Wednesday and arraigned Thursday after a mother and her children caught him masturbating in the parking lot outside of a daycare. He is charged with 1 count of open and gross lewdness. Police say the man has no children at the daycare and had no reason to be there.
Now to a warning from police. They're asking residents to call for help if anyone they don't know comes to their door offering home repairs. On Monday, an elderly Natick woman let a man and his apparent daughter into her home to fix her roof. She sat on the couch while the man snooped around her home. When they left, she was $17,000 short. A detective says these thieves traveled to the Metro West area from Florida looking for elderly people to scam.
A 46-year-old man is lucky to be alive this week after crashing his motorcycle. Stanley Kolarski was biking on the 290 East ramp that merges onto 495 North when he lost control of his Harley. The crash landed him in the median of the highway. He was taken by ambulance to UMass Memorial Medical Center in Worcester with serious injuries. At this time, he is listed in good condition.
Marlborough Police Department will receive more than $1,500 as part of a lawsuit settlement for 2 defective bulletproof vests. In 2003, the U.S. Justice Department found bullets could penetrate the vest. Toy Boyo, the company responsible for making the vest, will now pay nearly $1 million to 65 police departments statewide.
Developers of the Old Fry boot site are hoping city councilors will cut them a break on the city's height and landscaping requirements. The plan is to build 83 assisted living apartments, half of which will be low-income housing, but these plans don't meet city requirements. And if they were scaled back, it would be unprofitable. Developers will ask councilors for an exemption within the next month. Mayor Nancy Stevens says even with the exemption, the building could only be 1 story higher than what is normally allowed.
A local developer's long-term plans to build 11 senior condos near Marlborough's airport may soon become a reality. The city's Conservation Commission approved Robert Valchuis's plan last week, but a special permit is still needed from the City Council, along with a city-mandated site plan review. Valchuis first proposed the low-cost homes back in 2003. Each of the 11 condos will have 2 bedrooms and a 2-car garage. Valchuis says he plans on completing this project as quickly as he can.
And school committee members gave Superintendent Rose Marie Boniface a positive evaluation Tuesday night, but it didn't land her the generous raise she was most likely hoping for. As part of her contract, the committee must annually rate her job responsibilities and her goals. For her responsibilities, she received 80% efficiency, and for her goals, Boniface scored 77%. Her potential raise can be anywhere from 2 to 6%, but committee members settled on a 3% increase to her $143,000 salary.
Bad storms this week. We'll let you know what to expect this weekend and early on next week when we come back.
And we'll share with you the results of a new study that suggests seafood can prevent you from going blind. Stay tuned.
Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle, King of the Apes, father of boy. He knows what it takes to be a dad. You go for a ride, you take a swim, you hang out. All it takes is time. Hey, it doesn't take a hero, but it takes a man to be a dad.
Well, Dan, the rain has stopped and the sun is out and finally some hot weather.
That's right. We're going to need our air conditioners this weekend. And speaking of air conditioners, if you're looking to get rid of your air conditioner before the fall, you'll be surprised to know it's going to cost you. The City Council's Public Services Committee is considering reinstating a disposal fee at the Route 20 Resident Drop-Off Center. Residents currently pay $50 for year-round use of the facility, but officials now want residents to pay $10 additional to throw out air conditioners, appliances, TVs, and computer screens at the site. Car tires would be an additional $2. These proposed rates will be discussed Wednesday night.
And the father and the son indicted and arraigned on Tuesday in Middlesex Superior Court for trafficking cocaine are now out on $5,000 bail. The team was busted by Marlborough officers in March during a drug buy and drop off. Police say nearly 30 grams of cocaine and marijuana were confiscated. Both men pleaded not guilty. They are due back in court July 31st.
The former Rocco's restaurant on Lakeside Avenue is undergoing major changes. The makeover comes just in time for new tenants. The building will soon function as a real estate office. Owners of the building say it will be ready by the end of the summer.
Gas prices in Massachusetts are spiking once again this week. The cost of a gallon of unleaded gas surpassed $3 for the first time since the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. AAA of Southern New England says we're paying 4 cents more than we did last week, averaging at $3.01 per gallon. Prices were affected by the nuclear development standoff in Iran and by North Korea's missile testing. Bay State gas prices are 4 cents higher than the national average, and they're not expecting to come down much in the middle of the hurricane season.
Governor Mitt Romney signs a new law requiring the sale of self-extinguishing cigarettes in Massachusetts. The fire-safe cigarettes are made with special paper and are designed to go out when they're not being puffed. Supporters say this new law will help cut down on the number of cigarette-related fires. On average, about 20 people are killed and 150 injured each year in the Bay State from cigarette fires. This new law kicks into effect in 2008. Similar laws have passed in California, New York, Vermont, Illinois, and New Hampshire, and also in Canada.
Lawmakers on Wednesday voted to table a proposal to outlaw gay marriage until after November elections. That proposal would not affect existing same-sex marriages, but would only allow future marriages between a man and a woman. Supporters hope this amendment will be on the 2008 ballot. Marlborough's Democratic State Representative Stephen LeDuc voted against the delay. Massachusetts is the only state where gay marriage is legal.
In business news, it's goodbye to a local engineering services firm. Integrated Process Technologies Incorporated is purchasing a 25,000 square foot building at the former Fort Devens U.S. Army base in Ayer, about 20 miles north of Marlborough. The company has been in Marlborough for the past 6 years, but will start the move in late August.
And state retailers want a sales tax holiday to boost the local economy. The Retailers Association of Massachusetts is urging members to ask legislators for support. This comes after lawmakers removed the third annual shopping event from the budget this year. Last year, the August tax-free weekend generated about $500 million in revenue for retailers.
A big announcement from Microsoft. Founder Bill Gates says the software giant will likely release its next generation of computer software this January. Microsoft has dubbed the new system Vista. Gates made the announcement today in South Africa. A newer version of Microsoft Office is due out this December.
And new customer concerns about the nation's largest Medicare insurers. A study released Wednesday found that only 1/3 of insurance company call centers could give full and accurate answers to Medicare questions posed by investigators. Call centers are a primary information source for more than 43 million Americans eligible for Medicare. The Government Accountability Office conducted the study and found only one insurer gave full accurate answers more than half the time.
Now for a look at your health watch. Eating fish just once a week can help protect you from age-related blindness. About 1 in 3 Americans over the age of 75 suffers from macular degeneration. It's a condition where the back of the eye's retina begins to deteriorate, causing blindness. But now the new studies show those who eat fish once a week can reduce their risk by 40%. The study also finds smokers nearly double their risk of serious eye condition.
And when we come back, we'll have highlights from the Shamrocks season opener.
But before we go, Lesley Cannata is in Sudbury with this week's Pet of the Week.
That's right, guys. I'm Lesley Cannata, and I'm here with Gina Lettery at Buddy Dog in Sudbury for this week's Animal of the Week. And who do you have for us this week?
Well, today we have Sally, and she's a really sweet little spayed female. She came in with a bunch of other cats, and I believe some kittens as well. And so we spayed her here and did all of her medical treatment, and so she is ready to be adopted. She's really friendly, really quiet, and I think she did live with children before, so she'd probably be a great family pet.
Now, how old is she?
She's about a year old.
Good other cats, or?
Yep, she lives with a lot of other cats, so she's great with cats, and she doesn't seem to mind the dogs too much. I think she actually lived in quite a busy household before.
Great. Well, for anyone who's watching who wants to come down here, how do they adopt this cat?
Well, they can call and check and see if she's still available, and then they would come down and fill out an application and meet Sally and spend some time with her and take it from there.
Great. Thank you so much. We'll be back after this.
One 100 years ago this week, July 16th, 1906, City Hall is dedicated. 2 days earlier, the newspaper printed an open invitation to all Marlborough residents to come see the new building. The new building replaced the former City Hall, which burned down in 1902.
Welcome back to This Week. The Marlborough Shamrocks kicked off their season last weekend.
It was their first time back on the field in 21 months, and by the looks of things, they were ready. Let's go to Dan Ginden with highlights. Dan?
That's right, Angelique. It is exciting. The Marlborough Shamrocks are back, and their fans are happy. The players returning from the Shams 2 seasons ago, when they had their last season, noticed how excited the fans were to have them back. There was some talk that the defense would be good, but the offense may struggle at first. There were definitely no signs of struggling in this opener. We'll go to the tape. It didn't take long for the Shamrocks to get on the board. Quarterback Mark Eddy rolls out to his left, finds Dallas Mall for the quick 6. Yeah, that took all of 3 plays. Eddy is a former Algonquin High School and Bentley College standout. Already up 7-0, Eddy goes back for more beautiful touch on this one to Darryl Thomas, beats his man in the safety for 6, and a 14-0 lead. So we know that Mark Eddy can throw touchdown passes, but can he throw the deep one? Yep. 35 yards on that one to Thomas. The drive would end on a fluke interception instead of another score. But that Shamrocks aerial attack kept going in the second quarter. Timing pattern to Thomas. And he has his second touchdown catch of the night. Eddy with his 3rd touchdown pass. After a false start, Eddy going from the shotgun. Nice pass and nice catch. Dallas Mall with his 2nd TD catch. The route is on, as they usually are when any team comes to Kelleher Field to play the Marlborough Shamrocks. 21-0, and Eddy isn't done yet. Over the middle to Darryl Thomas, 34-0 at the half, 34-6. That would be your final. Maul and Thomas with big games, but it was Mark Eddy's 12 for 20, 248-yard, 5-touchdown performance that got most of the attention. The Shamrocks will play again at home this weekend against the Marlborough Cobras. We'll have those highlights for you next week, as well as some possible post-game comments.
Thanks, Dan. Well, it looks like the start of a promising season.
It does, and it's also good to have sports added to our broadcast. But anyway, the John Penny Band also took center stage this week. They performed Thursday night at Union Common. It was the 4th performance of Marlborough's summer concert series. Every Thursday there will be a performance at the corner of Main and Bolton Streets from 7 to 9 p.m. This coming week, the Mood Elevators will perform.
Well, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, head on down to the old fire station at the corner of Bolton and Main Street. Marlborough will hold its Summer in the City program every weekend throughout the summer. There will be free music, entertainment, and exhibits. Sounds like fun.
It does. That's going to do it for Marlborough this week. I'm Dan Corcoran.
And I'm Angelique Piccolo.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
It's worse than you can think.
Christy Mihos speaks out on the shutdown of the Ted Williams Tunnel, how this is going to affect your commute into the city.
And Eastern equine encephalitis discovered in Massachusetts will tell you where the deadly virus was found.
And Shamrocks take on the Marlborough Cobras. With one win in the bag, they take it into overtime but lose it there. We'll have your highlights.
Hello, Marlborough.
And there's breaking news this weekend involving Boston's Big Dig. A major highway tunnel going into Logan Airport has been reopened finally to buses, which is at last allowing some traffic to get through. And this is after Governor Mitt Romney ordered an immediate shutdown of the eastbound Ted Williams Tunnel. 2 new problem bolts were found during an inspection. Shortly after the governor's press conference, gubernatorial candidate Christy Mihos visited Marlborough.
They're talking now of not opening up the I-90 connector until sometime in late September. And there were just so many systemic problems in the entire project that just scream out for an independent oversight that we haven't had here.
State inspections began after 12 tons of ceiling panels fell onto a car on Monday of last week, killing 39-year-old Milena Del Valle. So far, there have been hundreds of problems found with bolts holding those ceiling panels in place.
Welcome to Marlborough This Week. I'm Tina Martin.
And I'm Mike Hoey-Lukas. Tina, with the Big Dig tunnels being shut down and with this nasty weather, people are really having a lot of traffic unpleasantness out there.
Definitely. If you have air conditioning, you definitely wanted to have it on blast this past week because of all the traffic that you were stuck in on the 90 connector and getting into Boston. But hopefully it's going to get a little bit better.
We certainly hope so for all of our sakes. You were definitely feeling that heat if you didn't have your AC working, because all over the state, temperatures were hitting record highs this week.
But hopefully that heat wave is over. We'll have a look at your 5-day forecast in just a few minutes. But we begin with a former Hudson police officer who is no longer facing charges of attempted murder. George West was arrested last month in Marlborough after he put a pillow over his wife's face and threatened her with 2 knives. On Tuesday, the Middlesex District Attorney's Office released him from jail and dropped charges of assault with intent to murder. But that doesn't mean he's off the hook. He still faces assault and battery and assault with a dangerous weapon charges. He is due back in court August 21st.
The Marlborough man accused of sideswiping a bicyclist, pulling a knife on him, and then screaming racial slurs was arraigned on Monday. Marcos Rios was arrested last week after the incident on Mechanic Street. He's charged with assault with a dangerous weapon, leaving the scene of personal injury, drinking from an open container, and also of civil rights violations. He was released without bail, and he's going to be due back in court on August 4th.
Health officials this weekend urging fishermen to toss back any white suckerfish they catch in the Fort Meadow Reservoir. Tests found pesticides chlorazane in the fish, which can be very dangerous. A health advisory calls for limited consumption of the bass look-alike, or no more than 2 servings a month. Pregnant women, young children, and the elderly should not eat the fish at all. The Department of Environmental Protection found all other fish in the reservoir to be safe.
And for the first time in Massachusetts this year, state health officials say they've found mosquitoes carrying eastern equine encephalitis. Now, it's important to note that there have not been any humans infected. The virus was found in a batch of mosquitoes in Carver back on Monday.
Both West Nile virus and eastern equine encephalitis have been found in Massachusetts. Our surveillance program does trap for these diseases each year. West Nile virus, of course, has been in the news lately. It's been in the was found in this state in the year 2000, is now found nationwide, of course, and does tend to be a bit more widespread across the state. Eastern encephalitis tends to be concentrated in southeastern Mass, although last year both northeast Mass and southern New Hampshire did show some pretty significant activity as well.
Last year, 4 people in Massachusetts came down with EEE, and 2 of them died.
Now to a warning from police. They're asking residents to call for help if anyone they don't know comes to their door offering home repairs. Last week, an elderly Natick woman led a man and his apparent daughter into her home to fix a roof. She sat on the couch while the man snooped around her home. When they left, she was $17,000 short. A detective says thieves traveled to the Metro West area from Florida looking for elderly people to scam.
And a Marlborough man who is already in prison on a drug conviction is now facing even bigger problems.
We'll have that story when we come right back.
Hello, I'm Captain Ron Ayer of the Marlborough Fire Department, reminding you that whenever you change your clocks, change the batteries in your carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. It can save your life.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, down.
Welcome back to Marlborough This Week, and there are new charges against a 22-year-old Marlborough man who is already in prison on a drug conviction. A 17-year-old girl is now saying that he molested her back in March. Eli Duchesne, who is serving a 9-month prison sentence, is facing 1 count of indecent assault and battery on a child over 14. His hearing on this new charge is scheduled for September.
The Lynn couple charged with kidnapping 2 Marlborough children last November will now have to provide DNA samples. Kathy Trotter and Dennis Piper allegedly snatched the 2 children from their home after tying up and beating their mother. The Middlesex Superior Court will use this DNA to study evidence from the crime scene, getaway vehicle, and other items used, including a rope, knife, and billy club. The couple face charges of abduction of the 2 children and armed assault. They are due back in court in January.
In business news, U.S. retail sales fell unexpectedly in the month of June, and high gas prices may be to blame. The Commerce Department is reporting consumer sales dipped 0.1% in June, and that's the first monthly drop since February. Economists are expecting a modest growth rate for the first quarter of 3%.
Gas prices, already more than $3 a gallon, continue to climb. According to AAA Southern New England, the state's average price last week jumped another penny. Self-serve regular gas is now on average $3.03. Last year at this time, gas averaged $2.39.
There may not be any immediate relief in sight at the pumps, but there is relief on the way for some Bay State retailers who are out of a job. The U.S. Department of Labor has issued $2.3 million, which will help about 400 workers. These workers were affected by the recent acquisition of May Department Stores, which is the parent company of Lord & Taylor. That takeover forced several Massachusetts stores to close, and it left hundreds of people unemployed.
The state Senate has rejected Governor Romney's proposal to have lawmakers pay out of their pockets for a former state legislator's pension who never contributed to the state retirement system. Former state representative Michael Ruane of Salem died last month after a long battle with cancer. His death came only days after the legislature passed a bill granting him a $44,000 a year pension. That money would go to his widow. Romney sent the legislation back to the House and the Senate with an amendment saying taxpayers should not have to pay out of their pocket for that pension. His amendment rejected. Romney now has 10 days to either sign or veto the original legislation.
We go now to your weekly health watch. Help is on the way for thousands of HIV patients who take as many as 30 pills a day. The FDA approved a once-a-day HIV pill on Wednesday. A tripla combines 3 medications into one easy dose. The drug is reportedly going to cost just over $1,000 for a 30-day supply.
Temperatures this week hit a record high for the year, and while you might have remembered to put on that sunscreen and drink plenty of water, wearing those shades probably wasn't your top priority. But that's exactly what it should be. The sun certainly can damage our skin as well as our eyes. Photokeratitis is a painful sunburn of the eye. Unprotected exposure over long periods of time can cause harmful effects such as increasing the chance of developing cataracts and damage to the retina. And that's why it's important to pick that perfect pair of sunglasses. Here are a few tips. Look for shades that are labeled 99 to 100% UV ray protected. Fit-overs or clip-on sunglasses are great protectants to be worn over regular prescription glasses. Make sure the glasses block enough light. Try them on in front of the mirror. If your eyes are easily seen, consider darker shades. And for better quality, purchase polarized glasses.
And Tina, those are some great tips. Now, there's one other thing that might be important for a lot of folks to consider. Health officials like the Centers for Disease Control often say that it's just as important for kids to wear sunglasses as it is for us older folks.
That's right, because the younger eyes aren't as able to block out the UV protection. So
definitely is something that all of us should watch out for. And we're going to take a brief break here on Marlborough this week, but before we do, let's head on over to Lesley Cannata, who is in Sudbury, with a look at the Animal of the Week.
That's right, I'm Lesley Cannata, and I'm here with Gina Lettery at Buddy Dog in Sudbury for this week's Animal of the Week. And who do you have for us?
Today we have Odie, who's a tough cookie in a little package. He's a very cute dog, but he needs someone who does have some experience setting boundaries with dogs. He has what we call a Napoleon complex, so he thinks he's a big guy, and he likes to be the top dog, so he'd do best as the only pet and probably without kids as well.
Now, how old is Odie?
I believe he's about 5 years old, and I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure he originally came to us as a stray from Puerto Rico, and he has had a couple homes, but he never had any real training, and I think that he could really benefit from that.
So Odie's really looking for an owner that can give him a lot of attention and give him the time to train him.
That's right. Take the time to train him and let him know what the rules are.
Great. Well, for any of our viewers who are interested in coming down here and adopting Odie, what can they do?
Well, they can stop by the shelter and visit with Odie, and we'll make sure that we feel that they're a good match, and then they'd be happy to have them fill out an application.
Great. Thank you very much. We'll be back after this. On July 28, 1906, a Marlborough train runs over a woman who was walking on the railroad bridge over the Assabet River side of Maynard. She was flung into the river below, but luckily 2 fishermen were able to pull her out of the water. She suffered only minor cuts.
Welcome back. A 35-year-old Marlborough man is held without bail this weekend for allegedly beating up his pregnant girlfriend Sunday morning. Several neighbors called the police after seeing them in the fight in the street. John Nevarez's 5-month pregnant girlfriend denies he hit her. Nevarez has 3 open cases in Framingham District Court for assault with a dangerous weapon, possession of cocaine, and disorderly conduct. He also spent last year in prison for assault and battery with a dangerous weapon and armed robbery convictions.
An 18-year-old from Marlborough pleads guilty to shooting a 13-year-old boy in the face with a BB gun. Thomas Vento was arrested in January after the incident. He entered a plea bargain on Monday and, as a result of it, sentenced to 1 year probation and 80 hours of community service.
Turning gears now, Marlborough's Labor Day parade may be 5 weeks away, but the city isn't wasting any time preparing. It's George Wapham's 26th time directing the parade.
Planning's going great. I've got 22 bands will be participating. We'll be bringing back the Philadelphia Mummers from Philadelphia.
For an inside look on this year's Grand Marshals, turn into WMCT's Marlborough magazine throughout August.
And children ages 5 to 18 will be able to play 9 holes of golf at the Stony Brook Golf Course on Wednesday. It's the 5th annual Marlborough Youth Golf Tournament. Players can register for $35, and that money is going to go to the city's Citizen Scholarship Foundation. Founders are hoping to raise about $10,000.
A world-leading orchestral flutist is making his way to Marlborough for a special performance. Paul Edmund Davies will perform Sunday afternoon with a pianist from Boston, from the Boston Symphony Orchestra. Tickets are $40, and that money will benefit the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation. Edmund Davies is best known for his work in popular movies such as Harry Potter and Star Wars.
And speaking of Harry Potter, have you ever heard of Larry Blotter? Neither had these kids until last weekend. Magician and comedian Bob Thomas performed his storytelling spin on the Harry Potter series last Saturday. His is one of many performances this summer for the Saturday Morning Discovery series.
We have entertainment for all ages. It's especially fun for kids to come out in the morning. It's at 11 o'clock for about an hour. We have performers up until September 2nd.
Past performances have included calypso music, songs, and stories from the historic period.
Coming up, we have some jazz music, storyteller, musician, and cartoonist 2 weeks from now. Lots of music.
All of the performances are free, and they're going to be held at Union Common, and in case of rain, inside of the old Central Fire Station.
The Mood Elevators took center stage this week. They performed Thursday night at Union Common. It was the 5th performance of Marlborough's summer concert series. Every Thursday, there will be a performance at the corner of Main and Bolton Streets from 7 to 9 p.m. This coming week, Deja Voodoo will perform.
And Tina, that's actually not all there is to see in local entertainment. I understand also that the Marlborough Shamrocks took the field last weekend.
Absolutely, and Dan Ginden is here to give us the highlights.
That's right, guys. The Marlborough Shamrocks hosted the Middleborough Cobras in the 2nd game of the season. Both teams were coming off Week 1 wins. Marlborough with a convincing 34-6 win behind the left arm of Mark Eddy, the new Golden Boy. Surely he would lead the team to victory again this week, right? Yeah, not so much. Let's go to the tape. The game didn't start off on a great note. Mark Eddy gets picked off by Rashawn Jones, and then look at how Jones will fumble the ball right here. Whoop, he gets it right back. He breaks 1 tackle. Then he breaks a 2nd tackle here. That is not Teddy Bruschi, even though he's wearing number 54 of the New England Patriots. He breaks a 3rd tackle. He's home free there. He'll go all the way for the touchdown. What a huge, huge play for Middleborough. It's 7-0. Shamrocks will come back. Eddy going deep to Darryl Thomas. Thomas with great concentration holds on to the tip pass and goes the remaining 47 yards for the score. Now we're tied at 7 apiece. Time expiring in the first half, still tied at 7. Mark Eddy rolling out, throwing into the crowded end zone. The 6'4" frame of Dallas Mall comes down with it, and the Shams get their first lead of the game as they head into the locker room. Second half, the Cobras come back. Emlak stays on his feet and stretches for the tie, 14-14. Fourth quarter, yes, the Shamrocks have their own ground attack. Darren Brown making like NFL Hall of Fame running back Jim Brown. He refuses to be tackled. 21-14, Shamrocks back on top. Then the heartbreak ensues. The Shamrocks trying to add to their lead. Eddy gets flushed out of the pocket, throws to the end zone. It's picked off by guess who? Rashawn Jones. You know what that's going to lead to. Vaughn, beautiful touch on this one. Touchdown, Middleborough. We're going to overtime, tied at 21. Shamrocks are threatening. Eddy rolling out, looking, can't find an open man, decides to move with it. He fumbles it, and he gets whacked. Middleborough recovers. Mark Eddy with 3 turnovers in the game. Definitely not his best night. Middleborough goes right down the field. Emlak gets the handoff, his 2nd touchdown, and the win for the Cobras. They take over sole possession of first place in the EFL. The Shamrocks drop to 1-1 on the season. Dallas Mall had 9 catches for 170 yards and a touchdown. Eddy had the 300-yard passing game, but the 3 turnovers did him in. The Shamrocks will try to get back on the winning track this weekend. They host the Clinton Irish Blizzard. Absolutely the strangest football team name I've ever heard of in my life. Maybe our crack staff that tape the game can find out what an Irish Blizzard is. That's sports. Let's go back to Tina and Mike. And guys, any ideas of what an Irish Blizzard is?
It sounds like a Dairy Queen drink.
It really does, like the McDonald's Shamrock Shake. I mean, it's strange to the point where certainly, like, as you said, Dan, it's certainly the strangest American football team name. It's almost reminiscent of some soccer team names like Chivas USA or like Red Bull New York or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's nice to see them playing football. Every season is football season, in my opinion.
Right. Certainly is. And Dan, let's hope that the Marlborough Shamrocks can get right back into the top of the EFL standings, as you told us that they've been in the past. And that's going to be all the time we have for this edition of Marlborough This Week. I'm Mike Hoey-Lukas.
And I'm Tina Martin. Everyone have a great week. We'll see you next time.
A Marlborough bridge out of commission for up to 2 years, the plans for rebuilding and the effect on your daily commute.
Soil test results from a former apple orchard are in. We'll tell you if planned construction there will go on.
And pain at the pump, it's not getting any better, so we've got some great tips to help you save some cash.
Welcome to Marlborough This Week. I'm Angelique Piccolo.
And I'm Dan Corcoran. We've had a great stretch of weather this week, and hopefully it'll stick around for next week.
That's right. We'll have your 5-day forecast in just a few minutes. But first, we begin with news of a huge traffic headache for commuters who live in Marlborough. The heavily traveled Boundary Street Bridge is set to be closed for up to 2 years to be completely reconstructed. The bridge is located in Marlborough on Boundary Street in between Route 20 and Interstate 290. A 3.5-mile detour will be arranged to divert commuters around the construction to get to I-290 during the project. Marlborough drivers will need to travel through Northborough via Main Street to East Main Street, then take Allen Court and finally Hudson Street. The Massachusetts Highway Department says crews will replace the entire bridge with a single span concrete and beam bridge. It will be slightly wider than the current Boundary Street Bridge with a sidewalk on one side. Construction is slated to begin in the fall of 2007.
A former apple orchard in Marlborough poses no health hazard to the public if it's left undisturbed, a new state report suggests. The Department of Public Health's newly released study does say, however, that it could be hazardous in the future. That all depends on if pesticide-lined soil on the site is handled correctly. The former orchard is located at the intersection of Route 20 and Glen Street in Marlborough. Construction of a new 99 restaurant on the site was stopped by the city in June until tests were completed. Some residents are worried that construction could allow pesticides to seep into the city's water supply. Last week's study suggests that soils on the site have elevated levels of DDT and arsenic, and that the risks to the public may be different once the site is redeveloped. Crews currently are working to stabilize that area.
After a successful appeal by police, the Marlborough mother will in fact face charges of drunk driving with her 5-year-old in the back seat. 26-year-old April Ronan was arraigned this week on charges that were originally dropped in March. Police say Ronan was drunk and speeding through Sudbury and into Marlborough on March 2nd. When police stopped her, they found her 5-year-old son in the back seat. Because of the new Melanie's Law, Ronan now faces charges of drunk driving and child endangerment. She's due back in court in September.
On Monday night, Marlborough police arrested a Worcester man, but not for the crime they were expecting. Authorities were looking for Carlos Velez for failing to show up for a court date earlier this month. But when they found him, they locked him up on drug distribution charges. And police said Velez was carrying a bag with several smaller individually wrapped baggies of cocaine. The 22-year-old was arraigned Tuesday in Marlborough District Court. Velez was charged with 3 separate counts of drug possession. He is due back in court on September 13th.
And a man charged with nearly killing a Marlborough police officer has been sentenced to a 1.5 years behind bars. In December of 2004, 21-year-old Preston Harrison of Springfield led police on a high-speed chase that ended right behind Marlborough City Hall. Prosecutors say Harrison deliberately tried to hit police cruisers during the chase and nearly ran over a Marlborough officer who was arranging roadway flares. The chase went from downtown to Worcester onto 4 major highways, then ended in Marlborough, where he was surrounded by police from 3 towns. Harrison received his sentencing in Marlborough District Court, where he pled guilty to nearly a dozen charges. He was originally charged for attempted murder, but that was later dropped.
Cepiton Incorporated, based in Marlborough, is growing so fast it needs to move to a bigger facility. Cepiton is a firm that produces data protection hardware and software in a world that's increasingly technological. The CEO says the company has already succeeded last year's revenue in just the first 6 months of this year. Because of the tremendous growth, Cepiton is looking for more workers and a bigger facility. The current 22,000 square foot building on Nickerson Road in Marlborough has outgrown itself in just a 1.5 years. There's no definitive word yet as to where the company will expand, but the CEO says he's looking to stay local. Cepiton launched its first product in 2003.
A residential developer from Connecticut is moving forward with his plans to build in Marlborough. David Nyberg addressed city councilors Tuesday night with plans to convert the former Design Pack facility on Maple Street into 90 apartments. But he and his company, College Street LLC, face several hurdles along the way. A state legislator approval is needed before any construction on the project can begin. Currently, the Maple Street location can only be used for industrial purposes, and there are bans on leasing or renting in the area. City councilors want details on the plan before they make any decisions about the Design Pack building. Nyberg's company has completed similar projects in Acton, Lowell, and New Haven, Connecticut.
The pain continues at the pump for Bay State drivers as gas prices remain at the highest averages ever. And even though there doesn't seem to be an end in sight, there are ways to help ease that pain. AAA of Southern New England reports the average price for unleaded gas in Massachusetts is at $3.03 per gallon, which is the same as last week. That's 2 cents higher than the national average. Although we may not be able to change the price at the gas pump, we can be smarter about saving some money. Here are a few tips that you can use. Number 1, look at the clock. It's a fact that most gas retailers set their prices for the day at around 10 or 11 a.m. You may be able to get a lower price before noon that wouldn't be available later in the day. Another reason to get your gas in the morning is because it's cooler out. The density of gas changes with the temperature, so you can get more for your dollar earlier in the day. Tip number 2, always pay cash. It costs gas stations whenever you use your credit card. A percentage of your transaction always goes to the credit card merchant, so it's better not to use it at the pump at all. Experts say you can save up to 4 cents per gallon depending on the percentage the credit card company takes. And tip number 3, get an accurate read on your car's own mile per gallon rating. Sometimes the MPG ratings published by car makers aren't always correct. You can get your car's rating by logging onto www.consumerreports.org. Now, gas prices may seem outrageous in Marlborough and across the state, but we don't have it the worst. One station in Coronado, California has its unleaded gas priced at $3.69 per gallon. That's the highest in the nation. So we get it bad, but it's certainly not the worst.
Hopefully these tips can help out.
That's right.
And coming up on Marlborough this week, we'll give you the latest health news.
And as always, we'll take a look at the pet of the week, so stay with us.
Hello, I'm Captain Ron Ayer of the Marlborough Fire Department, reminding you that whenever you change your clocks, change the batteries in your carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. It can save your life.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, down.
Go
Welcome back to Marlborough This Week. Realtors in Massachusetts are not happy about the declining number of home sales. For the third straight month, home sales are down in Bay State. According to the Massachusetts Association of Realtors, sales of single-family homes dropped more than 16% this past June compared to the same time last year. Sales of condominiums also fell compared to last year, down more than 14%. The market slowdown is due to jitters of would-be homebuyers. According to realty experts, they say higher mortgage rates paired with rising energy costs and a slow job market are still making prospective buyers very apprehensive.
Governor Mitt Romney this week voiced his opposition to the legislature's plan to raise the state's minimum wage. Currently, the state minimum wage sits at $6.75 per hour. Romney says raising that rate could actually cost entry-level workers their jobs, and that keeping minimum wages low preserves jobs for the poor. Critics of Romney say that a wage increase will elevate the purchasing power for a larger number of people and will reduce job turnover and will also lower the training costs for employers. The legislature plans to raise the rate to $8 an hour, something Romney opposes. Instead, the governor wants to increase to $7 an hour. This past Monday, the House voted to reject Romney's plan, and now the bill moves to the Senate. If it passes there, Romney will have 10 days to either veto the bill or sign it into law.
Well, soon consumers across the Bay State will get the chance to take part in tax-free shopping on Wednesday. Lawmakers approved another sales tax holiday for the state. During the weekend of August 12th and 13th, consumers will pay no 5% sales tax on purchases costing $2,500 or less. The goal of the tax holiday is to boost the state's economy during August, which is notoriously one of the slowest months of the year. Massachusetts had its first tax-free holiday in 2004. That weekend generated $400 million in sales tax, while costing the state about $10 million in lost taxes.
In health news, it looks like people in Massachusetts are living longer than ever. Life expectancy in the Bay State has reached a new high, according to state public health officials. The overall average life expectancy has risen to 79.6 years. When it comes to gender, women average out at 82 years and men at 77.
There are some other new and important health statistics coming out this week as well. The murder rate in Massachusetts has gone up since 2000, as well as motorcycle-related deaths across the state. Meanwhile, deaths from heart disease have decreased 19% since the year 2000, and the cancer death rate also fell just about 9% in that same time period. Even with the decreases in deaths from heart disease and cancer, the two illnesses still remain the state's top killers, accounting for half of all of Massachusetts' deaths each year.
Medicare changes that President Bush and his administration are planning could have a negative effect on hospitals here. According to the chief financial officer, Marlborough Hospital may lose up to $85,000 each year in paybacks for the care provided to Medicare patients. If the changes go forward, Massachusetts hospitals could see a net decrease of reimbursements from $1 to $2 million per year. The Bush administration's plan would base reimbursements on the cost to run each hospital and the severity of illness of its patients instead of what hospitals charge their patients. The plan could take effect as early as this October.
The City Council Monday night refused to vote on a $625,000 fiscal budget for next year. The majority of the funds would go to Marlborough schools to be used to improve the old computer network, which mostly consists of servers, routers, and hubs. The remaining money would be put toward updating the reporting equipment used by the police and fire departments. Council members urged that such funds should be transferred from other sources, including the school budget. Members have sent a request to the Finance Committee for further discussion on the issue.
Still ahead in Marlborough this week, we'll get a look at sports around town with Dan Ginden.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back once again. The Marlborough Senior Center has set up a series of legal clinics to counsel local elderly people on legal issues. The Council of Aging Director Amy Lovelace started the series with the goal of giving seniors the opportunity to express any legal questions or concerns they may have in person with a professional. Each educational presentation will cover a different legal topic. Seniors will then have the chance to ask the guest speakers any questions they may have. Such topics already planned include Medicaid planning, healthcare proxies, and home equity. You can get more information about these senior legal clinics by calling 508-485-6492.
The American Red Cross is asking Marlborough residents for their help. Summer is one of the slowest times for blood donations, so the group has set up 3 blood drives for the month of August. The first is on August 2nd at the Wayside Racket and Swim Club. It runs from 3 to 9 p.m. in the aerobics room. The second drive will take place at the Masonic Hall on August 9th from 1 to 7 p.m. And the third blood drive will be at the Holiday Inn on August 23rd from 1 to 7. For more information, you can call the Red Cross at 1-800-GIVE-LIFE.
Each week we give you a look at a friendly animal that needs a home.
That's right, and this week is no different. Here's Lesley Cannata with the Pet of the Week.
That's right, I'm Lesley Cannata, and I'm here with Gina Lettery at Buddy Dog in Sudbury for the week's Animal of the Week. And who do you have for us this week?
Today we have Titus. He's a 3-year-old neutered male, and he's very friendly with people, as you can see. He loves to be patted. In fact, he loves people so much that he really doesn't like to be left home alone. So he's looking for a home with someone who's around a lot, maybe a retired person. He does have a lot of energy, but he's very well behaved. He loves people, he does not love cats, and he's not great with other dogs. So he's one that probably wants to be the only pet. He will be a loyal companion and by your side all the time. So he'll be great for someone who's looking for that.
Now, what about kids? Did you say how he is with kids?
We are looking for maybe teens and up with him.
Now, how old is he?
He's 3.
3. All right. So for any viewers who are interested, Titus is down at Buddy Dog in Sudbury. Thank you very much.
Now we're going to switch gears a little bit and see what's happening with our athletes around town.
That's right, here's Dan Ginden with sports.
The Shamrocks are in the middle of a 5-game homestand. They welcomed the Clinton Irish Blizzard to Kelleher Field last weekend. The Shams were looking for their 2nd win of the season. Let's go to the tape. An unexpected defensive battle for most of the first half. Defensive end Kerry Taylor with the sack of quarterback John Riccio. Shamrocks are driving now. Darren Brown with a huge hole up the middle gets inside the 10. Shamrocks look to be in business. Mark Eddy looking to the corner of the end zone for Darrell Thomas. Nice pass, nice catch. Marlborough draws first blood 7-0. Clinton is going to come back though. Riccio chucking it deep, over 35 yards in the air, 59 total yards later, and Lauren Reed has a TD, and we're all tied up at 7. Second half, Riccio does it again. This time he finds Matt Surratt on the slant. Surratt shakes his man, Rob McCoy giving chase, and McCoy saves the TD, but not for long. Riccio to a wide open Lauren Reed. Touchdown, that was disgusting. The extra point was missed though. Sham secondary may be having a bad day, but not the D-line. Taylor chucking IBs around like rag dolls. Shamrocks running out of time. They need a spark. Darrell Thomas will try and provide that for them. He's got the blockers. He's got the speed. Thomas trying to break the back of Clinton, but instead he breaks the back of WMCT cameraman Rob O'Keefe. What's amazing to me is that Rob popped right back up, even though he lost his shoes like Charlie Brown, that blockhead. Remember now, Clinton missed the extra point, so 6 will tie it. Eddie to Dallas Mall. It's the perfection connection. With the extra point, the Shams take the lead for good. They go on to win by the final of 14-13. They improve to 2-1 on the season. Dallas Mall with another great game. 8 catches, 116 yards, and a touchdown. Mark Eddy completed 56% of his passes for 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. The Randolph Oilers are in town this weekend. Now, I don't know if we can get another look at Rob O'Keefe being dropped like a sack of potatoes, but I'm really impressed with how he managed to keep the camera from hitting the ground with the rest of his body. That is dedication, my friends. Let's go to Stony Brook Golf Course. That was the scene of the 5th annual Youth Golf Tournament held by the Citizens Scholarship Foundation. The CSF provides scholarships to high school and graduate students. The kids had a great time, especially when they watched Mayor Nancy Stevens and State Rep Steve LeDuc take their honorary first swing. Now, I don't want to start rumors because State Rep LeDuc is a fine golfer and Mayor Nancy Stevens just started golfing 3 weeks ago. but there may have been a chance that the mayor's tee shot went further than the state reps. I'm not saying that's what's happened. I'm just throwing it out there. That's sports. Dan and Angelique, let's go back to you guys.
Thanks, Dan.
And lastly tonight, Marlborough City Clerk of almost 30 years, Joanne Reynolds, has recently announced she'll be retiring. Reynolds will be available until November 30th to help out with election matters. She looks forward to spending her free time with her 4 grandchildren and her family, and we wish her the very, very best.
I'm sure she'll be missed.
Yes, she will.
Well, that does it for this week. I'm Angelique Piccolo.
And I'm Dan Corcoran. We'll see you next time.
Bye.